The pattern is obvious once you know to look for it. You sit in a mid-year performance review. You hit every metric. You exceeded every quota. Your reward is a 3% cost of living adjustment and a firm handshake. The person next to you, who struggles to execute basic operational tasks, gets promoted to a managerial role. You feel a sudden, jarring sense of institutional vertigo. The reality you experience on the ground does not align with the rules you were taught. The lie you were told is this: corporations operate as meritocracies. You generate more value, you receive more money. Hard work equals upward mobility. The truth is this: the corporate structure is a mechanism of containment. Your compensation is not determined by the objective value you produce. It is determined by the minimum amount required to keep you from leaving, balanced against the maximum amount of friction the system can tolerate. There is a pay ceiling. It is invisible, it is structural, and it is holding you down. To break it, you must first understand the unseen mechanisms operating against you. You assume the company wants the best ideas. You assume executives want ultimate efficiency. This is a fundamental miscalculation. The primary directive of any mature corporate organism is not excellence, it is stability. It is predictability. Excellence is inherently volatile. True innovation requires tearing down existing functioning structures. The system hates volatility. The system prefers a predictable machine operating at 60% efficiency over a highly volatile machine operating at 90% efficiency. The system does not reward truthfulness. Truth creates friction. Truth exposes the incompetence of those operating the levers of power. This explains the personnel choices that confuse you. You wonder why the people who speak the objective truth, the ones who point out glaring inefficiencies, are quietly marginalized. You wonder why the mediocre conformist is elevated. The system rewards those who do not cause problems. The organization promotes individuals who absorb systemic stress without reflecting it back onto leadership. If you solve problems quietly, you are useful. If you loudly point out why the problems exist in the first place, you are a threat to stability. You are penalized not for being wrong, but for being disruptive. This brings you to the first structural barrier, the competency trap. You are very good at your job. You are the pillar of your department. When a crisis hits, you are the one they call. You believe this makes you indispensable. You believe this operational leverage translates to upward mobility and higher pay. You are wrong. You have fallen into the competency trap. By becoming the absolute best at your specific day-to-day operational role, you have made yourself entirely too expensive to promote. Look at the board through the eyes of a mid-level director. If they promote you, they lose their highest producer. They have to spend 6 months finding a replacement. They have to spend another 6 months training that replacement. During that year of transition, the department's output will drop. The director's own year-end bonus will be threatened. Moving you is a massive liability. Keeping you exactly where you are is a highly profitable asset. The system traps you in your own excellence. To placate you, they will give you minor title bumps. They will call you senior or lead. They will give you plaques, public recognition, and minor stock options. These are cheap psychological tricks. They are pacifiers designed to suppress your realization that your actual compensation curve has flattened. You are highly competent, and therefore you are immobilized. As you remain immobilized, you encounter the second barrier, the memory threat. Over time, you accumulate institutional knowledge. You survive 3 departmental reorganizations. You outlast 4 vice presidents. You know precisely why the 2021 restructuring initiative failed. You know why the legacy software cannot be integrated with the new vendor platform. You think this historical data makes you a trusted advisor. In reality, you have become a memory threat. Modern corporate structures operate on a continuous cycle of collective amnesia. New executives are brought in every 3 to 4 years. They introduce revolutionary strategies to justify their compensation. These strategies are almost always repackaged versions of failed initiatives from 5 years prior. For the new executive to succeed, or at least appear to succeed long enough to secure their next job at another company, the organization must pretend this is the first time the strategy is being attempted. Your memory disrupts this required illusion. When you sit in a meeting and state, "We tried this 3 years ago and it cost us $2 million in lost revenue," you are not being helpful. You are sabotaging the new narrative. You are an uncomfortable living reminder of past failures. The system requires a blank slate to sell new promises to the board and to shareholders. Long-tenured employees carry the heavy baggage of reality. Consequently, your historical knowledge puts a target on your back. The company does not want to pay a premium for your hard-won experience. It would rather hire a cheaper, younger employee who possesses zero historical context and will blindly execute the doomed strategy with enthusiasm. To enforce this transition and keep salaries suppressed, the system utilizes a specific dialect. Human resources does not exist to protect you. It exists to protect the company from legal liability and to enforce behavioral compliance. To achieve this, HR has developed a language of weaponized ambiguity. When you are told during a review that you lack cultural fit, you are not being judged on your personality. Cultural fit is the corporate mask for obedience. It means you do not blindly accept top-down directives. It means you ask too many logical questions. It means you do not conform to the unspoken psychological profile demanded by upper management. It is a subjective metric designed to deny you a raise without providing actionable feedback. When leadership demands more energy or passion, they are not talking about your emotional state. They are demanding uncompensated labor. Passion is the metric used to justify answering emails at 10 o'clock at night. Energy is the justification for taking on the workload of 2 laid-off colleagues without a corresponding increase in base pay. When they say you need to be a team player, it translates to accepting systemic dysfunction without complaint. It means absorbing the failures of executive management without pointing fingers. This language is engineered to make structural exploitation feel like a personal failing on your part. If you do not get the promotion, the system frames it not as a mandate to hoard capital, but as your failure to exhibit enough passion. You must strip the emotion away from these words. Translate them mechanically. They are simply tools for cost suppression. Furthermore, the system uses the concept of the market rate to validate your low pay. They tell you your salary is competitive based on industry standards, but the market rate is an artificial consensus engineered by major corporations to suppress labor costs globally. They buy the exact same compensation data from the exact same consulting firms. They legally collude to ensure the pay ceiling remains intact across the industry. There is also a fundamental, intentional disconnect between internal retention budgets and external hiring budgets. When you ask for a 10% raise, the system claims poverty. The budget is locked. The margins are thin. Yet, when you finally leave in frustration, the system immediately authorizes a 20% higher salary to hire an external candidate with less experience than you. This is not an accident. Internal retention budgets are strictly controlled to suppress the baseline. External hiring budgets are flexible because the system views external hires as acquisitions. You are a depreciating asset in their ledger. The external hire is a new investment. This structural anomaly guarantees that staying loyal to one organization is mathematically the most inefficient way to grow your income. You cannot change this system. The system is operating exactly as designed. It is a machine built to extract maximum value for minimum cost. You can only change how you interact with it. First, control your own narrative. Stop expecting the system to recognize your value organically. It will not. Document your impact meticulously. Quantify your results in hard numbers: revenue generated, costs saved, hours reduced. When you negotiate, do not ask what you deserve. The system does not care what you deserve. Present a cold, calculated business case that proves replacing you will cost them more than paying you. Second, avoid the competency trap. Do not be irreplaceable in a static function. Systematically train others to do your job. Make yourself redundant at the operational level while positioning yourself at the strategic level. If you cannot be easily replaced, you cannot be promoted. You must build your own replacement if you want to move upward. Third, create financial leverage outside the structure. The system derives its power over you from your absolute dependence on the biweekly deposit. Build capital, reduce your liabilities. When you no longer operate from a place of financial desperation, the power dynamic shifts entirely. You can set boundaries. You can say no. You can walk away. The willingness to walk away is the only true leverage you possess in a corporate negotiation. Finally, view loyalty as an illusion, not a career strategy. Corporations are programs.